Looks like our DA is a little out of sorts today, huh?
Well, how sweet of you to care, Trevor.
Well, it wouldn't have anything to do with it. You're about to get this big rape case tossed out the window. Because when the judge agrees to my motion to suppress the DNA, it's one small step, and the case is dismissed.
Well, if I were you, I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Without the DNA evidence, what do you got? You got that Kid Fisher on the stand, and what's she got to show for herself? Good time, uncorroborated story?
My, you must be feeling sure of yourself.
Champagne on New Year's Eve.
I'll give you a tip. Don't pop any corks yet.
Jillian, what are you doing here? Jillian, what are you doing here?
Ryan, I know you don't want me here, but I had to come.
What, to deliver my mail?
No, it's for me. They delivered it this morning at the boarding house. It's a something.
The subpoena. You gotta be kidding me. No. This is no joke. He wants you to testify. Why? I don't know. Let me find out.
All rise. The First District Court of Pine Valley is now in session. Judge Souza presiding.
Take your seats. Let's get this hearing underway. Mr. Dillon, I've reviewed your motion to suppress the DNA evidence taken from your client, Ryan Lavery. As I understand it, the blood sample was taken involuntarily.
That's right, Your Honor. My client was denied legal counsel when the district attorney coerced him into taking this blood test.
Is true, Mr. Montgomery?
No, Your Honor. In fact, it is absolutely not true, and I can prove it. We have but to ask the defendant, Ryan Lavery.
Mr. Lavery, if you would, walk me through the events leading up to the blood test in question.
Of course, Your Honor. Well, I was in jail, ready to sack out for the night when the DA arrived, and he started hammering me, told me how he'd love to see me rot in jail, how miserable I was, and then he just stopped, and he pulled a complete 180, offered me a trade, my freedom for a DNA test.
And what was your reply?
Well, I said no. My lawyer had specifically told me not to.
Is true, Mr. Montgomery?
Yes, Your Honor, but Mr. Lavery agreed to have his blood drawn nonetheless.
What the DA's not telling you, Your Honor, is why he was in jail in the first place. He was there on a trumped-up assault charge, so he coerced him into taking a blood test.
He was charged with assault by an upstanding member of this community.
Yeah, who happens to be dating the complainant in the rape charge, living in his house. This whole thing stinks from smelling bad, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if I may, please. Mr. Lavery, you made the statement that I began to hammer you. Did I beat you? Did I send men into your cell with rubber hoses to truncheon you into submission? Were you harmed in any way?
He may not have held a gun to my head, Your Honor, but he threatened my wife.
What? Hey, Your Honor, at no time did I threaten Mr. Lavery's wife.
I remember the exact words. He said if I didn't cooperate, that he would take the rape charges public, that my wife wouldn't even be able to walk down the street or buy a tube of lipstick without being laughed at or humiliated. He even suggested a title for the piece, Your Honor. The Princess and the Rapist. So I couldn't let my wife get hurt like that. So yes, I agreed to take the damn blood test.
Is that true, Counselor? Did you threaten the defendant's wife?
No, Your Honor, I did not. I simply pointed out how miserable her life could very well be should the press get wind of this story.
Is that why you sicked Pinkerton on Jillian, because you cared about her?
Trevor, that's hardly germane to the point.
Oh, the hell it ain't.
Somebody want to tell me who Pinkerton is?
Immigration, Your Honor. The DA threatened to have Mrs. Lavery's green card revoked.
Your Honor, long after the night in question, Mrs. Lavery was arrested for aiding and abetting her husband, who was a fugitive from an arrest warrant. Now, I did contact the INS because I needed to be quite sure what her citizenship status was before I brought charges.
So you used the threat?
I used the law.
To your own advantage.
No, Trevor, to the advantage of the people who put me in this position and whom I am sworn to protect. What the hell is the matter with that?
Gentlemen.
Your Honor, he is so gung-ho to win this case, he will do anything, including coerce my client into taking this DNA test.
Your Honor, I maintain all I did is what any good district attorney would do. I tried to bring a criminal to justice.
And I maintain the district attorney's judgment has been clouded by the fact that the alleged rape victim is his sister.
All right, let's get this out of the way right now. Yes, Your Honor, she is my sister, and I love my sister. And in fact, I believe in my sister. But that prompted no illegal action toward Mr. Lavery. Your Honor, it's very apparent to me, and I hope it is equally apparent to this court, that Counselor's motion to suppress the DNA evidence is a last-ditch attempt to save Ryan Lavery's skin. The DNA results show a 70% match between the defendant and the rapist. Now, if Mr. Lavery is innocent, as he claims to be, then how the hell does he explain that?
Look, I don't know about the DNA test, Your Honor. Maybe the lab made a mistake. Maybe they got my blood mixed up with somebody
Your
else.
Honor, that's not possible. That lab has verified and re-verified the results of that test.
That may be so, Your Honor, but it's still 70%. 70, not 100. I did not rape Kit Fisher.
Well, I have a victim who says otherwise. But, Your Honor, we're not here to decide the guilt or innocence of Ryan Lavery today. We're here to decide whether this DNA evidence is admissible in a court of law.
I agree, Mr. Montgomery. Frankly, it sounds to me like you leaned on the suspect. He repeatedly refused the test, and yet you insisted that he cooperate without advice of counsel, which leads me to want to grant Mr. Dillon's request.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You can step down, Mr. Lavery.
Your Honor, if I may, I'd like to call to the stand a witness who will corroborate every statement I have made in this court today. I'd like to call Ryan Lavery's wife, Jillian Lavery, to the stand.
Objection, Your Honor. The DA cannot compel a wife to testify against her husband. It's privileged information.
Well, unless, of course, there are witnesses present. And in this case, Your Honor, there were two, myself and the lab technician there to draw Mr. Lavery's blood.
Now, he's right, Mr. Dillon. We'll hear the witness.
Mrs. Lavery, would you be so kind as to take the stand?
I have to do this.
Just answer the questions, give him nothing else. Capiche?
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Have a seat. Will you please state your full name for the record?
Jillian Andrashi Lavery, Princess.
No, not many women are so candid, Mrs. Lavery. Go on.
Mrs. Lavery, were you present that night that your husband submitted to the blood test?
Yes, I was. Ryan was in jail for punching Edmund Gray.
Mrs. Lavery, will you please just tell us what happened that night?
I went to jail to bail Ryan out.
And what did you see when you got there?
I saw you and I saw a technical person, and the technical person had a needle in his hand. Your Honor, I was really scared that he was going to shoot some horrible poison into his veins, so I knocked it out of his hand.
That's pretty much exactly the way I remember it, too. Now, after you knocked the syringe from the lab technician's hand and it fell to the floor, you please tell us, what exactly did your husband say to you then? Mrs. Lavery, will you please answer the question? What did your husband say to you when you tried to stop that technician from drawing his blood?
He said you weren't trying to hurt him. You were only trying to draw some blood.
We weren't trying to hurt him. We were only trying to draw some blood. Now, what else did he tell you? What else did your husband tell you, Mrs. Lavery?
I'm trying to think.
Well, let me see if I can help you out. Didn't he say that it was okay for that lab technician to draw his blood? In fact, didn't he say that he was anxious to take this DNA test because it would prove his innocence? Mrs. Lavery, the court is waiting. Didn't your husband say he wanted to take that blood test? Mrs. Lavery, will you please answer the question?
Could you please repeat the question?
I'd be only too happy to. Didn't your husband say that he would happily volunteer to take that blood test?
Well, it's not that he wanted to exactly, but you said that if he wouldn't, then he'd be spending the night in jail with, what do you call it, serial killers. But you know that I don't understand that, because what does murder have to do with forage?
Look, your husband was never in any physical danger. Now I'm going to ask you again. Did he not volunteer to take that blood test? Yes or no? Your Honor, help me out here, please.
Mrs. Lavery, answer the question, or I will have to hold you in contempt.
Your Honor, you don't even know me.
Mrs. Lavery, answer the question, please.
Yeah, my husband wanted to do the blood test. He thought it might help him.
Thank you, Mrs. Lavery. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Dillon, anything?
No further questions, Your Honor.
You may step down, Mrs. Lavery. Gentlemen, anything to add?
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to take this opportunity to again stress that in no way was Ryan Lavery coerced to take that DNA test. In fact, he had every opportunity to consult with counsel or simply to refuse to take the test. He did neither.
Your Honor, it's obvious my client was coerced. The DA threatened to sic tabloid hounds on Mr. and Mrs. Lavery. He called immigration, threatening Mrs. Lavery's status.
Clarifying Mrs. Lavery's status.
Your Honor, he shanghaied my client in the middle of the night when most decent people are sleeping, including myself. The DA here knew I'd be in bed, that my client would not have a chance to reach me.
Your Honor, the learned counsel makes it sound like this is personal. I have no personal agenda here.
Oh, the hell you don't.
Come on now, gentlemen.
This 11th hour shenanigans here is just an effort to coerce my client into acting not in his own best interest, but to protect his wife and his own personal honor. Now, given these circumstances, I request that the court find the DNA evidence inadmissible.
I'm going to consider this in chambers. I'll return with my ruling.
Excuse me, I gotta check my office.
Ryan,
Look, I know what you're gonna say, Jillian.
I'm really sorry about today. If I knew Jack was gonna make me talk, I would have had him somewhere where he couldn't find me.
Look, that would only make things worse for yourself, all right?
I don't care. I cut out my tongue.
Jillian, don't go all Hungarian on me now, please.
Do you forgive me?
It wasn't your fault.
Well, if you can find it in your heart to forgive me, then maybe there's some...
Jillian, please, do me a favor, don't go there now, okay?
I'm your wife. I believe in you, but it seems that no matter what I do, you... I'm really sorry about today.
Today doesn't count.
Thank you.
This is it. Keep your fingers crossed.
Montgomery, I find myself at odds with your conduct. It is obvious to this court that you exploited Mr. Lavery's situation in order to obtain state's evidence. Now, while I don't think much of your methods, it would seem that Mr. Lavery acted freely when he allowed himself to submit a blood sample. Therefore, it is the ruling of this court that the findings and the DNA findings are admissible as evidence in a court of law. Therefore, the trial date is set for 3 weeks from today. We are adjourned.
All rise.
Now what?
You go back in the clink and we regroup.
This is really bad, isn't it?
If I had gotten the DNA thrown out, it would have been your word against Kit's. If I can get her past admitted, then I could shred her to bits. But it's tough arguing hard evidence.
You said my word against Kit's? Did you believe I raped her?
What I believe isn't important here. I'm your lawyer. I got to develop a defense. With a 70% DNA match, you look guilty as sin. It sure would help if you said this was consensual sex.
Damn it, Trevor. How many times do I gotta say this? I didn't have sex with Kit Fisher, consensual or any other way.
You keep saying this, you're gonna be looking at 25 years. I get a judge without a heart, you're looking at life. I think it's time we talk to Jack about a deal.
So Montgomery hates my guts. How do you want to cut a deal with me?
He might want to save his sister the embarrassment of a public trial.
What kind of deal are we talking about?
If you plead guilty, $10 years in Statesville.
10 years? 10 years for a crime that I didn't commit?
Should I talk to Jack?
Oh, no. I gotta think about that.
Yeah, you do. Now hang in there. Guard. We'll do our best.
Is Erica in there? I heard they moved her out of ICU.
Yeah, they moved her a little while ago.
Well, that's good, isn't it, that she's out of ICU?
Yeah, she is stabilized, yeah.
Good. She up for company?
No, darling, you don't know the whole story.
Well, you called and said she was in an accident. I know she had emergency surgery.
Well, there's more.
She's going to be all right, isn't she?
As far as they can tell, yes, but it's her face. Been badly hurt. And we don't know what's under the bandages.
Well, I assume it's too soon to tell. I mean, the doctors are taking precautions.
Do you think it may be scarred? It may be badly scarred.
Does she know yet?
No, she doesn't. And you mustn't tell her. The doctor says she must not know till she's stronger.
But how can that be? I mean, she must know she's got bandages on her face.
I know, but she doesn't know the extent of the damage. She thinks it's just bruised. Hayward, did you tell her about her face?
No.
Well, don't you think someone should tell her before she finds out herself?
Absolutely not.
I think you're making a mistake.
And I don't care what you think. If you countermand my orders and pose a threat to my patient's recovery, I will be forced to restrict visitation. Do I make myself clear?
Quite.
She doesn't know yet, does she?
Did you say something to her?
Oh, almost. I came so close to making the blunder of a lifetime.
Darling, didn't you check with the nurse first?
Well, there wasn't anybody around, so I just went in.
Well, Dr. Hayward said that she shouldn't be told. He made it very clear.
Yeah, he made sure I didn't open my yap. He threw me out.
Yeah, well, probably it's all for the best, darling. I mean, we're all too upset.
She's gonna find out sometime.
I know. And when she does... Well, there must be something non-addictive they can give you.
No, I don't want to risk anything. I just feel some pain when I breathe, so given the alternative, I think I'll deal with the pain.
Honey, you are a wonder.
I just don't want anything to slow me down, you know what I mean? I have to get out of here before Bianca hears about this.
Doesn't she know?
No.
Huh?
No, don't tell her. No, because she would leave the clinic. You know, she'd want to be here in a minute, and she's making so much progress, and I wouldn't want her to risk her own recovery, and I don't want her to see me like this. I look like a mummy. But you know what? I think I'm getting better. Because this is not tingling anymore. So I'm sure my face is better, and I think the swelling from all of these bruises has gone down.
Is there anything I can bring you? A good book? Some chocolate truffles?
You can fit the chocolate truffles through a straw. But there is something.
Name it.
There are 2 books. There's one at the bookstore. It's on Los Angeles. The other one is on all those great classic movie stars, the glamorous ones, Ava Gardner and Marilyn Monroe.
Honey, don't you think it's a little early to be thinking about traveling?
Oh, no. Oh, well, this is research for me. For when I go back to modeling, I'm going to call my new campaign Return to Glamour. And so I plan to be photographed like all those really great film beauties. And I want to use Hollywood as a backdrop. I think I'll take some pictures in front of that big Hollywood sign, and I'm going to be photographed on the corner of Hollywood and Vine. Isn't that great?
Sure, darling.
Wow.
Absolutely. Get some rest, darling. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, me too, girlfriend.
Well, Opal, you should tell me about Palmer.
Oh, it's nothing that can't keep.
I'll bring you those books.
Oh.
Are you all right?
Yes, I just wasn't prepared.
Well, did you talk to the nurse?
Yes, I won't say anything.
Is that you?
In the flesh. I brought you these, although obviously you already have plenty.
Trevor, we've already stipulated that Christine had too much to drink. You don't need to call the bartender.
Bartender's gonna say that she had more than too much to drink, Jack.
And what about the other 6 bar patrons you plan to call? They're going to say the same thing, so what exactly is the point here?
Because the jury needs to hear it, Jack. That's the point.
You're going to make sure the jury hears every sad, sorry detail, aren't you?
I am.
That's the way you think you want to play it.
That's how I'm gonna play it, Jack.
Lavery wants to see you. Says he's ready to talk.
Go make your plan.
Excuse me, I gotta talk to my client.
No. He says he wants to see both of you. He wants to tell us the truth about the rape. Haley, I don't want you here right now.
Why? Ryan, what's wrong?
Everything is wrong. I can't take this battle anymore, all right? I'm gonna put an end to it right now.
Listen to me, I understand. You are stir crazy. I know. When I was locked up, man, I got a little paranoid.
But you were locked up because you were trying to help me, Haley.
And I would do it again in a heartbeat because I believe in you. And so does Jillian.
And I put her through hell?
She doesn't care, Ryan. Listen to me. She loves you with all her heart. You've got people in your corner who love you and who will go the distance for you. Now is not the time to quit.
I can't tell you how much it means to me, how much you've done for me.
Ryan, I'm your friend.
And if there's anything good that's come out of all this, it is that I've learned what friendship and what loyalty is from you.
Of course I'm loyal to you, Ryan. You're innocent.
Would you be loyal to somebody if they did something terrible? Maybe then you'd turn your back on them?
Ryan, you haven't done anything terrible.
Kid Fisher has been raped, Haley. It happened.
That has nothing to do with you.
Yes, it does. The DNA says it does.
The DNA doesn't say anything.
It tells me what I need to know. The truth is staring me in the face.
Ryan, what are you talking about?
Talking about debts. When do you know when you paid enough?
You gotta listen to me. You don't owe Kid Fisher a damn thing.
I owe Kid Fisher the truth. But if I tell her what I know... But that's not going to be justice because... Haley, there's a lot more to this, okay? Some debts go way, way back. But thank you.
For what?
I gotta pay the price, Haley, no matter what it costs.
Ryan, you're really starting to scare me now.
It's time for you to go now, Haley.
No, why? Why?
I want some time alone with my client.
Listen to me, you don't say a word, nothing, until you tell me what's going on. What have you done?
It's time for you to go now,
No,
Haley.
I'm not leaving until you tell me what's going on.
Whatever you got to say, you say it to me first.
Forget it. I'm through with all the legal crap. I just want to tell the truth, all right? I just want to tell you who raped Kid Fisher.
You don't talk to anybody until you've talked to me. You got it?
There's nothing more to say, Trevor.
You listen to Trevor. You go shooting your mouth off. You're going to ruin your case.
I'm sorry, but it's time for the truth.
Look, he is sick. He needs a doctor.
Haley, why are you even here? Get her out of here. Where's Derek?
Ryan, think about what you're doing. I'm right.
Coffee,
no, I'm not going anywhere.
Look, don't make me have to arrest you and lock you up.
That is an excellent idea. Lock me up by all means. You're going to have to drag me out, but I want to talk to my lawyer first.
Before you lock her up, Derek, you better tell me charges.
Disobeying a direct order from a police officer. How about that?
She wasn't doing anything.
You can't come in here and throw me out. I'm trying to get your visiting hours.
All right, that's enough. Now, Haley, by all means, please stay, but keep your mouth shut. Now, Ryan.
No,
You had something to
he
say.
is incoherent.
He looks very coherent to me. As a matter of fact, he looks like a man who very badly wants to tell the truth. That happens sometimes when you're left alone with your thoughts. Doesn't it, Ryan?
Well, I've been doing this thinking. I've been thinking about how I got in this place. About the night in the parking lot and before and everything that led up to it. A bunch of stuff that none of you would understand.
Talk to us about it. Make us understand.
There's this guy who comes from a terrible family. He has no way of knowing how to treat people. All he's ever seen is contempt and cruelty. If he ever wanted anything, he had to go out and he had to take it. Nobody ever reached out and gave him anything. It's no wonder that he's growing up and he can't tell right from wrong. It's not his fault. Now a woman's been raped. And he can't confess to it, so he just goes on about his business.
Who is this guy, Ryan?
Are you saying you know who the rapist is?
I've known him my whole life. The guy who raped Kid Fisher? It's right in front of you. It's me.